Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Happy New Year 2025. Hope you had a wonderful 2024. Hope you had good holidays, Merry Christmas, and had a good New Year's party. In this video, I want to talk about what's coming in 2025. What are the things that you need to be careful about? What are the things you can look forward to? So it's not all doom and gloom. It's a new administration, new energy, new people in the room, and new decisions to be made. I am quite optimistic and I'm going to present my thoughts on what might be coming for the legal immigration, for employment-based immigration, and so on. Also, I will talk about an important topic that people are facing lately. Two topics actually. One is regarding the travel and stamping, and second is regarding whether you should upgrade to EB1a or EB5, because those are the things that are on people's mind given the backlog in the EB category. So packed content guys, first video of the new year. Watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration and lifestyle related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, before you take any action, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Happy New Year 2025, and if you hit that subscribe button, that will greatly help the channel. It seems like in the last couple of months the channel really picked up. I went for 70 or 80,000 subscribers to almost 147,000 subscribers as we speak. If you can help me cross that 150k mark, that will be incredibly helpful. And I thank you for your support over the number of years. I get daily emails and phone calls and messages when people get their green cards, how they watch my video throughout their process and it helped them. I'm incredibly happy and thankful to all my subscribers and viewers and express my heartfelt gratitude towards all of you. Put some meaningful comments in the section below so that you can get into a conversation and might as well get your questions answered. And that will give me idea for my next topics, what is important on your mind. Now, I want to talk about one sensitive thing that is happening lately, and it's not a new issue. It's 221G. If you have gone through this process, you know what it means. But for those who don't, it means administrative processing when you are at the consulate, when you are applying for your visa or extension or stamping. Now what happens is when you are on a visa, every few years you need to renew it because you won't get it forever. And when you renew it, and then if you need to travel outside the United States and come back, you need a stamp on your passport. And the stamping at the moment can only done outside of the United States. They had started a pilot program for in-state or stateside visa stamping, but that ran out, and I don't think they are going to revive it again with the new administration coming in. They might, we'll see. But for now, you have to go outside to your home country or to another country outside of US in a consulate to get your visa stamp. Now, during that process, what happens is usually the visa officer has very limited time to talk to you. Usually the interviews at the consulates for a visa last for like 5, 10 or 15 minutes at the most, during which time the visa officer has to make a decision whether they want to let you in the country, whether they want to give you a visa or not. Now, there are a lot of things that they need to go through: your intent, your documentation, your background, your previous violation of the visas, and so on. So there are so many things that they need to take care of before making that decision, because their decision has an implication not just on the person who is applying for the visa, but also to the security and safety of the United States. So that is an important thing. And when they are not able to make that decision on the spot, they basically defer that decision to get additional time. And that's when the person who is at the counter applying for the visa gets a form or a notice called 221G.
And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video. Have you ever done the Google search of your own name? Look what I have found when I did mine. Here's what comes up. While some of this information is relevant, the other makes me uncomfortable that my information is exposed for a sale like this. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, or anybody else who may want to target you. Your full name, email address, home address, your relatives' names, health information, it's all out there. That's why I have been using Aura, sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out request for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura does so much more to protect my information and my family's information from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything for one affordable price. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like locking the front door but leaving your back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to my link which is on the screen and in the description and start your free 2 weeks trial. So protect your information, your family, and have a peace of mind. That's Aura.
Now, mind you, this is not the denial of the visa. Although there is some wording that is confusing on that notice saying that your visa has been denied, it's not actually a denial. That is very important to know. 221G or administrative processing just means that they need either additional documentation or additional time to review your petition before granting you a visa. So that's what it is. So sometimes you get a 221G and then you get your passport back and you are sent back home, and you are told that if there is any additional information that they need, they will contact you via email address or by phone. So now what has happened is, in the past, people have gotten this 221G administrative processing and they have had to wait for a couple of weeks or even some months. In couple of situations, I have come to know that people had to wait more than 6 months or even a year to get their administrative processing done or their actual visa stamped on their passport. So this is a long period of time, and if you haven't planned for it, it kind of messes up your life. People have stayed in the United States with their kids have gone to the school for many number of years. Now they are gone to India or somewhere else for vacationing and applied for their stamping, and now they're stuck there. That has happened. Now, from my past videos, I had told that before the incoming administration, you might want to go and do your stamping done, and many are successful in doing so. And while doing so, there are some people who have been unsuccessful or who are caught up in this administrative processing. Now, before we go into what are your options, let's quickly talk about couple of things that people asked me about. Now, there are several different slips that you get. 221G is very specific. It means that they need additional information or they need additional time. So if you get a blue form and it's not listed anywhere which color coded form, blue or yellow or pink or whatever it is, what does it indicate? But my speculation from what I have heard from people is, when you get a blue form, it generally means that they have a list of documents that they need from you. So maybe when you filed for your DS-160, you haven't supplied enough documentation and they have a list of documentation that they need from you. So that's why they give you a blue form. That's my speculation. Now that is very straightforward, and it's very good that you get that list so that you can go back, collect that documentation and give it back to the consulate to process your visa. Pretty straightforward, right? The other one is white form. Now, white form is a little bit tricky and it needs more time. It's a little vague as well, because now what they are saying is, we are doubtful that you are really employed by this particular employer. So say for instance, you have applied for H1B visa. They want to investigate whether that company still has a job offer for you, whether they can pay you, whether that company still exists. There's a little bit of an investigation that visa officer needs to do. That is what the white form is, in my opinion. Now, the third one is the pink form. Now, pink slip or pink form is the most common one that I have come across where people have notified me. And that has to do with missing information on your form itself. So when you're filling out the DS-160 form or any other form that goes along with it, you have missed some critical information. Remember, there is a job history that you have to mention. There is a travel history that you have to mention. There is some violations history that you have to mention. There is visa history that you have to mention. And if you think that just by not mentioning something you might get by, you are wrong, because the visa officer can see most of it in front of his screen. Your travel history, your employment history that was submitted in the past, your in and out of the US, and specifically your background information, whether you had ever denied of any visa, whether you had overstayed your visa, whether you have violated your visa terms and conditions, that's all available for the visa officer already. Now they are just validating it against the form that you have submitted. And if there is a missing information, then it kind of is like misrepresentation. So that's where you can get stuck. So pink slip is the most dreaded one in my opinion, where you have knowingly or unknowingly missed out some information that USCIS already knows, and now they are going to investigate you even more further until they are satisfied that you are clear to get a visa. So that is what it is. And then there is a yellow form or yellow slip of 221G. That just means that they just need more time to make a decision on your case. That is pretty simple. But I would be a little worried about the white form and the pink form. So now, what are the things that you can do to avoid 221G, or even if you get 221G, what are the things to do? First of all, I would like to emphasize that do not miss out any information on the form. If it's a work history, if it's a travel history, if it's a visa denial history, make sure you note everything. Assume that USCIS already knows everything about you and they are just validating you by having you enter that information on that form. So if you go by that mindset, you should not miss out any information on the form. So that way you will eliminate this yellow slip for 221G, which is the most dreaded. The second one is, even if you get 221G, it's not the end of the world. It's not like they have denied the visa. It's like they have given a second chance to correct the situation. Either it might be the missing information, missing documentation, and whatever it may be. The instructions are pretty clear. Mostly, I have seen many 221Gs and instructions are very specific. And you want to make sure that you are responding to those questions on that slip. Specifically, if they ask you for your marriage certificate, there is no need to give all kinds of other certificate other than your marriage certificate. That's what many consultants ask you to do, because they confuse the hell out of the candidate when they get the 221G. They ask you to submit n number of documents, missing out on the one that they really requested. So make sure you read those instructions carefully, read the timeline carefully, and only specifically respond to those questions and that information. So that is very important to get your case cleared out as soon as possible. Now, there are lawyers who will claim that they will sue the USCIS or the Department of State on behalf of you while you are outside in your own country. I don't think that is a great idea. From the lawyer's perspective, their skin is not in the game. They are just there file on your behalf. Regardless of outcome, it might be in their best interest to win the case, but in case the case is lost, it's on you. So be careful while suing the USCIS just because you got your 221G. Now, if you have been stuck for 6 months or 8 months, that's a different story. Then you need to pick up the phone and call a lawyer and see what are the options. But if it's just a couple of weeks, don't just go ahead and hire a lawyer to sue the Department of State just for a couple of weeks of delay of your stamping. I personally would not do that. But once things start getting out of control, say a couple of months or 6 months or a year, then that would make sense. Now you have lesser rights being outside of the United States, not having a visa, not having US citizenship or a green card, and not being physically present in the US. You have lesser rights. So you need to keep that in mind as well. But it doesn't mean that you have no options. You still have those options. Now, in case you contact a lawyer, if the couple of weeks or months have passed and you're still stuck in the administrative processing, do contact a good immigration lawyer. Now, once they file a petition on your behalf to sue the Department of State, they will have 60 days to respond with a decision on your case. Now, don't be fearful at that point of time. But my caution would be, don't take extreme measures just because the officer needs extra time to make a decision on your case. Now let's talk about some of the positive things. Okay, what might happen? In my opinion, the dates in the employment-based visa bulletin might progress in October. The reason I'm saying that is because during the last Trump administration, they had given out lesser immigrant visas at the consulates. As a result of that, there was a lateral spillover in between the categories. So from the rest of the world to the backlog countries throughout the year. So you might see some progress in the dates in the employment-based section on a quarterly basis throughout this year after January. And a big forward movement will happen in October of 2025, which will also include some unused visa numbers from family-based category. Now in the year 1, I wouldn't expect too many, but in year 2, in 2026 October, I'm expecting that there will be a huge number of spillover numbers from family-based category to employment-based category. That will be beneficial for you. In terms of priority dates, they are just going to creep by week or two in EB1, EB2 and EB3 for backlog community throughout this year. But starting next year, it might be leaps and bounds. In October 2025 and in October 2026, I would expect to see 1 full year of increment in the visa bulletin for EB2 and EB3 category. Now EB1 is a different ball game because I have no clue how many people are upgrading from EB2 to EB1a. The reason is because I get at least 10 to 15 calls every week on EB1a or EB5. Those are the two popular pathways to speed up your process if you are stuck in EB2 and EB3. Now my advice is, if your dates are around 2015 or 2016, you are looking at a couple of years of wait on EB2 in the backlog countries. But if you are beyond that, if your date is late 2016 or 2017 or 2018, you forget about it. It's going to take incredibly long unless there are big changes in the immigration, which I will talk about in a moment. But in that case, it makes sense for you to choose either EB1a or EB5. Now, EB1a is your effort. It's self-petitioning. It is understanding the criteria, knowing what to submit, knowing what is required for USCIS to make a decision and going by that pathway. It will take you a couple of weeks or months to prepare all those evidences and then file for it. It's all your effort. So the more effort you put in EB1a, if you meet the criteria, you'll be successful. EB5 is a totally different ball game. It is basically putting money, right? You put 800,000 in the REAs, TAs and so on. But it's not just putting money. It's also hiring the right real estate consultant if it's a real estate project and hiring a right immigration attorney. So those are the factors that come into play. So if you need my advice on what you should do in your particular situation and what are the pitfalls on each one of them, contact me on my Calendly and I will be happy to assess your situation and give you my thoughts, what I would do, which path I would choose if I were in your situation. Now the last point I wanted to make is, what are the positive things that you might expect to see with the new administration in the employment based section. Now there are a couple of things that come to my mind. Now Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are in the administration. They are supporting the administration in the DOGE, right, Department of Government Efficiency. Now both come from the corporate worlds. They know the importance of employment based immigration. So they are going to fight for increasing the number of the visas, green cards for employment-based immigration and also increasing the numbers for H1B. Now, granted that it's not in their control, they can just make recommendations. But look what happened just a couple of days back. Elon Musk had such a big influence, even though their administration is still not in power, in this government funding bill that avoided the government shutdown. So think of it, when they come into power on January 20th, it will be even more influence. So I have no doubt in my mind that Vivek and Elon will have a great influence on the new administration in bringing better immigration policies for employment based and also for H1B, because US needs more high-skilled immigrants. There are people who oppose this as well, but at some point they will all come to consensus regarding what makes a common sense bill to pass, bringing some relief to the backlog community. So that is my speculation. So what does that mean? Maybe increasing the number of H1Bs, maybe increasing the number of green cards for employment-based category, and even removing the per country cap. Everything might be on the table and one or all three might get approved, is my opinion. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. Hopefully we get some good news in 2025. Again, wish you a happy, joyful and prosperous new year 2025. If you like the content of this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.